tuned in to the Della Fit Podcasts. 360 degrees of holistic fitness and health, all in one podcast.
Salutations and proclamations. It is I, it is you, it is us, it is we. Together, we make up the digital family that is the Della Fit Podcast. I'm your host, Philly's #1 son, aka the Body Alchemist, Sun Moon Bay, bringing you another podcast excursion. Happy Friday to all, and happy Mother's Day to all of the beautiful mothers out there. This Sunday will be Mother's Day, and I'm hoping that everyone enjoys their Mother's Day, and everybody gets to spend time with your mothers and show the mothers, the wives, and the beautiful women in our lives, you know, that special moment, that special time. Every woman is a mother, no matter what, you know, whether you are a sister to somebody, whether you're a wife, whether you have a child or not. Women are the mothers, the sisters, the wives of humanity, and that's just the unadulterated truth. So spend some time and celebrate that special mother in your life, that special woman in your life. Use this time to do that. I know something my brother and I used to do. We still do it. My brother, he's married now, so he's got his own family and everything. But one thing we used to do when we were younger is we used to have a battle of the cards, whereas we would purchase cards and leave them around the house for my mother. So it could be when Mother's Day hits, or the night before, I would hide a card underneath of my mom's pillow, hide one in the cabinet of the kitchen, hide one somewhere where I knew she would have to go throughout the day. My brother and I would battle back and forth to do this, and I remember one year my brother beat me because he bought a giant card, but we used to battle for reactions of my mom, and that was our special way of doing it. And I think that's awesome. You know, I still buy my mother cards and make sure, you know, we do something special for our mother on Mother's Day. But that's just something I remember. She always enjoyed that when we were younger, you know, and things like that. And we still try to do it. We don't try to do it all the time because, you know, it takes we never want our mom to get, to start know what we're doing. So it's always kind of like, you know, keeping her off guard and, you know, to get that reaction out of her. But that's one of the things we used to do, like maybe every other Mother's Day or something like that. We would do something a little special like that, where, you know, I might cook, my older brother might cook, my younger brother might cook. Somebody does something, you know, we'll always do something for her. So I encourage all of you out there to do something special for the mothers in your lives, the wives in your lives, the sisters in your lives. Really do that. Spend the time to do that, because life would be nothing without moms and wives and sisters. I mean, life would be nothing without the women, period. So, you know, you can't have humanity without women. That's just the simple truth, you know, and why would we want to? Gonna have a great show today. So we went to the listeners. We always ask the listeners every show. We always want to hear what your topics are. We always want to understand and know what it is that you want us to talk about. We always are asking questions. And I want to thank all of our listeners and supporters out there, because you all stepped up and we asked the question, and boy, did you come out in groves and was like, listen, I want a show about this, or I want to learn about this, or can you talk about this topic? So we went out and asked the questions, and one of the questions that we got actually came through one of my mentors, the trainer's trainer, who is here today as our guest. And one of his clients wanted to know, how do you build muscle on a vegan diet? How can you do that? How do people who are on a vegan diet build stunning bodies with just vegetables? How's that possible? So we're going to be discussing that. Hopefully that'll help answer the questions for many of you, potentially vegan and potentially going plant-based individuals out there who are just like, listen, you know, I want to be vegan, or I've heard that being plant-based is healthier or something like that, you know, but I don't want to lose gains, or I don't want to I don't want to be a skinny mini, as some people like to say. You know, I don't want to be a stick person. You don't have to be a stick person. I myself, actually, the first 3 years of me being vegan, I'm now vegan on 6 years, close to 6 or 7 years. I actually gained more weight than I ever had. I actually gained more muscle mass. I actually got up to about 183 pounds, you know, almost 190, you know, and that was just from eating plant-based diet, lifting heavy, and, you know, doing the things necessary. I eventually decided to take my weight down because I just didn't want to be that heavy. I've always been, or felt, that was the most agile between the weights of 175, and I felt I was the slimmest between 165, 170, 175. So I try to stay around there. That way my body fat is low, I can move, and I still have strength. So, you know, that's one thing I had to figure out. But we're going to talk to the trainer's trainer. We're going to have that conversation coming up. Also, we have the amazing Miss Brittany Noel. That's right. You all know it. If you listen to the show, Brittany Noel is one of our most consistent guests. And she will be here because one of the other topics on the other side of the coin that you all have asked us to discuss is how to eat to lose weight. That's right. You're out there, you're doing your diet, you're exercising, you're hitting the cardio, and you're like, yo, listen, son, how do I eat to lose weight? I don't want to continue to eat the same way. I want to continue to lose weight, but I don't know what to eat. Well, guess what? The amazing Brittany Noel is here to help you with those questions. So we've got a great show. It's going to be awesome. And you know what I always say, when you're here with the De La Fit podcast, you're at home. So kick your feet up, grab a biscuit, and chill out. Welcome to the De La Fit podcast.
Hey, you, with the earbuds in their ear. Have you ever wanted to start your own podcast? When I was trying to get my podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other places people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you can get paid to podcasts. I like to upload my episodes directly to the app and then promote. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast, make money doing it. Go to anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast.
You're now tuned in to the De La Fit podcast.
Welcome everybody back to another episode of the De La Fit podcast, 360 degrees of holistic fitness and health all in one podcast. And we have special guests joining us again. One of my favorite guests, the trainer's trainer, Geoffrey Snyder. Geoffrey, how you doing today?
Pretty good stuff.
I'm all right, man. You know, just doing what I do, you know, try to market myself, put it out there, social media, do this podcast, do these presentations, make these customized programs for people out there. You know, normal things us trainers do.
Yeah, hey, listen, I know, and I know, and I know.
Man, so for everybody listening, today we're going to have a special conversation. Jeff is joining us because we've been getting a lot of questions. I know I have, and I know he has, dealing with nutrition and veganism. And there's a lot of things going around out there. I know many individuals know about a lot of popular YouTubers have gone back to eating meat. And a lot of people are just like, hey, does that mean that it doesn't work? What's going on? How do I do this? So, you know, decided we were going to have this podcast, have this conversation. And Jeff, you actually have a client who was asking questions recently about it. Am I right?
Yes. She was asking how do they do it? How do they put the mask on? How do they get their protein? You know, she's how do they do it? And they look good.
Right.
You know, that was the question.
All right. Well, first things first, let me start by just saying my personal feelings about
veganism and nutrition, because I get a lot of questions about that, and I get friends of mine who are saying to me, they'll be like, why don't you post on your social media about meal plans and nutritional plans? This is my thing. All right. First things first, everybody's individual. And I find that a lot of people love to put out these meal plans and these things. Basically, and Jeff, I know you know this, and we've talked about this all the time. People don't like to think.
Right. They do not.
You know, they want us to put things out, and they just want to follow. And I honestly believe that if you or I or any other trainer was to say, look, eat this, that, and the third every day, people would do it.
That's it.
You know, and
they don't think about it.
Exactly. You know, and that's not the way we're meant to live life, which is one reason I don't do diet plans, nutritional plans. Another thing of it is that in the state of Pennsylvania, I am not a quote unquote a dietitian, and you have to be very careful when you're doing these diet plans and meal plans, because everybody is individual, and everybody doesn't have the same, everybody's different, and everybody might have certain things like diabetes. Another person might have celiac. There's so many other things to think about when it comes to this topic.
Right.
So when we get into this is why I don't really do the whole meal plans. But so the question is, how do vegan athletes, or how do vegans in general, pack on mass? All right. And I'm going to take this back to a couple of past guests and say the word that everybody's afraid to hear, which is partially carbs.
Okay.
And the other word is protein. And I know many people out there are going to be like, oh, wait a minute, where are you getting this protein from? All right. So let's break down number one. There is protein in everything. All right. There's protein in everything. Well, all right. For those with the protein police, except water. Okay. Because I know the online trolls. I can hear you all. There's no protein in water. Yeah, whatever.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
There's no protein in water.
They're right. So let's deal with this. All right. Many foods have proteins. All right. Many vegetables have proteins. When it comes to protein, it's how much is in certain foods. Now, a lot of meat eaters, like steak, beef, things like that, have high amounts of protein. All right. That's very true. All right. Mm-hmm. Salmon, high amounts of protein. Now, when you're getting to more vegetarian, vegan diets, there are foods that are high in protein, but you have to learn how to mix and match. You have to learn how to develop. So let's go with one of my favorites. All right. Let's go with the basics. Rice and beans.
Right. You can't
right.
do that.
That's it.
That's
right.
it. That's actually a meal in and of itself, and has enough protein in it that it will suffice.
Exactly. All right.
It actually has a good blend of carbs, low glycemic carbs, which is actually a safe meal.
There you go. Making it simple. All right. We don't have to go too far. All right. Now, we also have other proteins. All right. Some people have approached me and they're like, what is satian or Satan? All right. Something that is not too popular just because of its name.
Right.
But all right, let's break this down. So satian is what they call wheat meat. So think of it as it's like a meaty bread. It's basically it's created from wheat. All right, and it's a wheat gluten, and when you mix it up, almost like a dough, it has a consistency that is similar or a texture to what most people call meat. So this is very high in protein. It's very high in a lot of different proteins. It's got a good amount of carbs in it. I will say it is not good for anybody that has celiac disease. You want to stay away from these things. Or
you have to be mindful.
Exactly. Or any type of wheat allergies. All right, stay away from those type of things. All right. Also, you don't want to really keep, I would say you want to use this sparingly, period, because it is gluten. Mm-hmm. All right. And even if you don't have any type of allergy or some or celiac disease, just you don't want to eat a lot of things, all right, because after a while you can build up allergies. You can build up other things too.
It'll cause other things to happen because you eat so much of it.
Exactly. All right. So you want to use this sparingly in dishes. All right. But it is a good source of protein. Another thing. Let's deal with good old fashioned tofu.
Wait, I have one more before you go to tofu.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Tempeh.
Tempeh.
Because I had a client ask me about tempeh, and she said, well, how do I cook it? I said, I don't personally know, but Google and YouTube it. I'm quite used to a lot of ways how to cook tempeh.
Tempeh, you can fry it, you can saute it, you can chop it up and put it in many different
what is tempeh, son?
So tempeh, let me see if I can. It's tofu, but not tofu. It's like fermented bean curds. All right, all packed together, and it's what they say is a little bit more. It's a little bit. I'll use my own words. It's not as processed as tofu.
Okay.
All right, but it's when you basically they kind of ferment the ferment the soybeans. All right.
Soybeans, right?
All right, and then it's broken down, and then they process it to the consistency in which it is. It's almost like a bar. Okay. All right, and then from there it can be cooked. All right, so think of, for those who are familiar with miso, which is also right.
Bean curd, right?
Right. It's like fermented. It's a fermented process with the bean. All right. So, and all the cultures and things that come from it, they can be very helpful for the body. But again, you don't want to overindulge in these foods. All right. Tempeh can be cooked. Can be sauteed, put in soups, fried. You can do a lot of things with tempeh. Look up tempeh dishes on YouTube. You can look up tempeh dishes on Google. I'm not going to really break down a lot of those things right now. Just going to give that information.
That's the simple way out.
Right.
You'll find recipes on Google and YouTube.
Exactly. Boom. There you go.
Right.
All right.
Directly wherever you need to go.
The dreaded one that I hear so much about, tofu.
Tofu. Dun, 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 dun.
All right, so let's
give me that breath.
All right, so this is the thing I hear about tofu, and you so eloquently put, Jeff. Individuals will be like, well, it'll feminize me, it'll give me man boobs and all these other things. Yeah. Right. Now, let's break this down. And for those out there also, I know a lot of followers of Dr. Sebi don't recommend eating tofu. This is what I will say to everybody. Research. I use tofu. Again, I use it sparingly. All right? But the thing of it is that you have to study and understand that there are goods in tofu. Tofu is a fast absorbing protein. All right, it's very fast. It's up there, I think, with steak, as far as how the absorption of it. All right, I can see
right.
All right, it can be absorbed into the body very quickly, which is why a lot of individuals who are vegan, after a workout, they'll have a protein shake with soybean. All right, a soybean shake or something like that. Right. Which is good for recovery. But again, something everybody should realize is that there is a vast amount of soybean that's put into so many products that we ingest. Even
you have to be careful.
Exactly. Even products that we don't realize are have soybean in it. I recently went to a pizzeria. I was picking it up for a pizza for a friend of mine at a non-vegan place, and they had ground beef for some, on the side, and they were reading the ingredients out loud. I don't know why, but guess what was in it?
Soy products.
Exactly. And they were questioning. They're like, "Why is there soy in ground beef?" A lot of individuals, or I should say, a lot of companies right now, they feed soy to their animals.
Right.
All right. They place it as fillers in their different ingredients and things like that. And it's very, very cheap. It's very economical, all right, to produce it. So if you mix the amount of soy that is in most products today versus, all right, the individuals who are turning vegan or people who are plant-based now, that can be a lot of soy.
It's a lot of soy, yeah.
That is a huge amount of soy. They don't really see that much soy in until they really look at the products that they're eating, start reading the labels. Exactly.
Because I know, well, I have a question for you, and this is probably a lot of your listeners are want to know, and I had heard about this product about 3 years ago, and it just hit the market probably about 6 or 7 months ago, and that's the Beyond Burger.
Ah, okay.
And a lot of people are talking about it, and like I said, I knew about it. I heard it on NPR radio, and they were actually in the design process. They hadn't hit the market as of yet.
Right.
And they started doing the advertising and it hit the market. What are your thoughts on the Beyond Burger?
Okay, so the Beyond Burger, I feel like, and I'm glad you touched on this, Jeff. Things like the Beyond Burger and things like what they're getting ready to start doing, there's talk about eliminating slaughterhouses and many other type of that basically how the meat industry has been doing things, and they want to get into cloning.
Right.
The Beyond Burger, I had mixed feelings about it, and this is just my opinion. I'm not telling anybody not to or anything like that. I haven't even tried it yet, like I said. But from what I have been reading, the Beyond Burger is they've done some things where they're making it seem like meat. They're not putting any meat byproducts on it, but they're doing things to the products in a sense, so when you bite into it, it kind of has that feel and that it looks like it bleeds a little or what. However,
that's from the beet juice.
That's from the beet juice, right? Now, again, I have not tried it, but this is one thing I tell everybody: if you are going plant-based because you're an athlete and somebody says that it's better for you, that's one thing. If you're going plant-based because you're for ethical reasons, that's another thing. All right. Know your reason. Right. For me, being a vegan is about my health. I have no wish to try to pretend to eat anything that is a living being or a living was a living creature. That's not me. All right. So I don't. When I go to places, people are like, "Oh, this is mock salmon," or I don't really care. I know what it is. All right. Even when I make my own burgers, all right, which I do, all right, there are ways I can make it look like is beef and brown and things like that. Sometimes I don't do anything. I just fix it, and it looks like.
Sometimes you're so hungry you don't care. You just want to eat it.
Exactly. But for the individuals out there, know why. Know your reasoning when it comes to these type of burgers and these things that are what they call faux meat. All right. I don't really have anything against the Beyond Burger. I haven't tried it yet. I do have worries when we start talking about things in labs. Because when you start working in a lab instead of a farm, that worries me.
Well, okay. I remember about 8 or 9 months ago, maybe even about a year and a half ago, I sent you a list of ingredients of the Beyond Burger.
Right.
It was only in the selected market, and you said, Jeff, too many ingredients. It's not basic. Way too many ingredients. And I'm impressed.
And you know what? I still feel that way.
Right. When you said that, I said, you know what? I'm not going to try this thing because, once again, looking at the label, too many ingredients, and it's plant-based. It should be things I can say, and it should be things that I can pronounce.
Exactly. And
it had a lot of stuff that, is like, okay, really? This is what you put in this? It's all natural? I don't know. Something was right,
And that's how I feel. I mean, and I'm glad you brought it up again.
I still want to try it.
I want to try it because I don't like to talk about things I haven't done.
Exactly. Right.
But again, I do feel that way when I look at ingredients and I'm like, But at the same time, I've gone to Hip City Veg. Shout out to Hip City Veg, by the way. And I've gone to them, you know, and I've gotten a Ziggy burger, and I've, you know, look, there are times when you're hungry, situations are going down, and you might not be able to get home for hours. Right. I'm not going to begrudge anybody that. All I'm saying is that do the research, know what you're eating. That's it. Know what you're eating. You know, so that's my feelings with the Beyond Burger. Nothing personal against it. Not knocking it down. Nothing. You know, just be careful with over processed foods in general. How much you're intaking. That is the biggest thing. Got to be careful with those. Right. What is that? I think, Jeff, we dealt with the Beyond Burger. Oh, one thing. I was getting ready to talk about a little bit about what they're about to do with this cloning of meat so that there will be no killing of animals, but we might save that for another time. That's a whole other show.
That's a whole other show, I believe.
Man, but
ethical, you're jumping into another realm there, but
hey, listen, but there's so much going on in terms of food and what we're getting ready to. The world is changing constantly.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it is really changing. You know, so. But to go back to our basic conversation, like I said, seitan, soy, tofu. What else we talked about? Tempeh. Those are good proteins. Right. Good proteins. Also, like I said, the basics. Food. Basic vegetables. Vegetables themselves have protein. Another good thing for individuals, if they want to build mass also, is understand this. It's all about nutrients. Nutrients, protein intake, all right, and realizing what it is you're trying to do. If you are trying to build muscle, but you're not doing any strength training exercises, any strength-based movements, multi-joint movements, it's going to be hard to also put on some weight. That's just, you know, or put on some muscle, all right, if you're trying to do that, being specific. Something that you've always expressed to me, Jeff. You're like, look, isolations are cool when you want to sculpt, you know, and put some butter on your toast, but, you know, you need that basis, which is your multi-joint movements, bench press, squat, you know, deadlift. Those heavy movements, I'm going to put in there overhead press and pull-ups. You know, those strength
that engage more than one muscle.
Exactly. You know,
at least 3 to 4 muscles, if not more.
Exactly. Those things right there, those are going to help you develop a lot of muscle, a lot of strength.
Yeah, those basic movements. Basic.
Oh yeah.
Heat. You have to feel the body. It's all about feeling the body, what you put into your body.
Exactly.
You know, you can eat a ton of vegetables, and you can eat some grains, you know, and like quinoa and some of the ancient grains, and still get big. You know,
exactly.
You can do it.
Exactly.
You just have to read. You just have to do your research, and we're not here to design the diet for you because we have to educate. You have to know what to eat for yourself.
Exactly.
And we can't, you know, again, someone said if I sit down and eat an orange, a bowl of oatmeal, and you know, for those that are vegan, a bowl of oatmeal and a tofu shake.
Yeah.
That's all you're going to eat. That's all you're going to know. You're not going to have the wherewithal to say, hey, maybe I can eat a grapefruit instead of an orange, or maybe I can eat an apple.
Exactly.
Maybe I can eat wheat instead of oatmeal. And, you know, so keep that strategy for yourself. The food gets boring after a while.
And don't be afraid. That's the other thing. Do not be afraid. I hear a lot of people who are starting out as vegans or vegetarians, and they're like, what can I eat? All right, off the top of my head, I think they've found, and I think you and I talked about this before, there's like 10,000 grains. 10,000 grains and counting, people, okay? There's so many brands or different types of legumes, nuts, seeds, all right? For those that have allergies to those things, don't worry about this. There's so many different types of what they call tubers of potatoes, so many type of squashes. There's so many different brands of vegetables that have different types of nutrient, different types of nutrient denseness, as well as protein rich or carb rich. All right, do your research. Make use of the internet. That's it.
That is research.
You know, I'm gonna ask for anybody out there that is meat. Now, Jeff, let me ask you a question. What are the basic foods that most people who eat meat eat? What is it? What is the basics? How many of them?
It's poultry.
Mm-hmm.
It's beef.
Mm-hmm.
And it's seafood.
There you go.
The two majors are poultry and beef.
There you go.
Probably the major would be chicken.
That's it.
Chicken would be the number one.
So
when it comes down to the bareness of it, poultry or chicken would be the number one.
There you go. So when I hear people talk about, well, what do I eat? I'm like, think about it the same way. You know, most individuals are even this way who eat meat. They're thinking singularly, you know, or in that monolithic type of thought pattern. Oh, I can only eat this. No, look, break out of that. Open your mind up. Google all the different types of vegetables. You will be so surprised. And
experiment.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to get your ass in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Oh yeah. Don't be afraid.
Sorry.
You know? Don't be afraid. Get in there. You know, do your thing. I learned a lesson when I had the stringed squash. I didn't know how to cook it, but I experimented and figured it out.
That's it.
Know? Took me two runs, but I figured it out.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, it's understanding what to eat. Then it's also understanding your body. Something that you constantly used to always tell me, Jeff. Understanding, look, you might not, for you, eating at a certain time might not be beneficial for your muscle gaining.
Right.
All right? For me, I don't eat breakfast. I don't eat a breakfast. I drink a water, I work out, and after that, if I feel like it, I might eat. And then later in the day, I build muscle that way.
Right.
That's me.
Right.
All right?
And that works for you.
Exactly. It's individualistic.
This is not an exact. It's a science, but it's not an exact science.
Exactly.
And each person is different. Each person has different requirements.
That's right. So,
and what may work for some will or may not work for me. What works for me will or may not work for someone.
Exactly.
You know, what may or may not work for Rob. Or Rob may take both to the combination of what we both do, and it might work great for him.
That's right.
You know, so you never know. And it takes years. It's nothing that you learn overnight. To get used to your body. You have to give things a few months to take hold. So if you don't get results in 1 month, that's don't worry. It's not meant to be. Exactly. It'll take time for you to get to try something out for about 6 months. You see if it works for you.
Just be consistent.
Right. If that's what you're going to do, then do it.
Consistency.
And give it a few months to see if it's working for you. If not, switch it up.
That's right.
You know?
I'm glad you said that. Experiment.
You'll experiment. Find out the right combination.
So many people are afraid to experiment, Jeff. I mean, it's the one thing I see. And when it comes to building muscle, building a good physique, and understanding what it is that they want to do, but
that's the thing that you just hit the nail on the head. A lot of people don't know what they want to do.
Exactly.
A lot of people don't know. I had one client that he knew that this was his bulking phase. So he was eating dirty. He was eating everything. He was eating dirty because he knew this is my bulking phase.
Right.
And once he gained the weight, then we went into a cutting phase. Well, another client said, well, I want to start cutting too. I said, well, okay. Well, did you bulk up first, or how do you need to start cutting? And do you know what cutting phase is? And, I had to break all that down to her. Mm-hmm. After a while, she just said, I don't know what I want to do. So you need to find out what you want to do.
Exactly.
Then we can set your goals towards that. Because other than that, I don't know. You're just going in the gym and just throwing weights around. And if you have no goals, that's fine. But if you have goals, you need to sit down and figure it out.
Everything is organization. And you said it before, Jeff. I want to go back to it. It's a science, but it's not an exact science. But it is about consistency and organization. You have to be organized, and know what you want. You know, a lot of individuals, I hear a lot of women come to me and they're like, listen, I want to lose weight, but I want to be toned. First of all, I hate the word toned.
So like, that's the guitar's instrument.
I'm like, we're not, there is no tone. I'm like, either you're strong or you're not.
Right.
That's it. All right. You're going to build muscle or you're not. There is no toned. All right. You want to be leaner. That is actually something. All right. But when you're saying toned to what? Tone deaf? What? Tone loc? I don't understand. You know? but yes, I did. You know, but
now, brother, you showing your age. Okay.
Hey, you know what? That's all right.
Wow.
You know, but yeah, in order to gain muscle, all right, those are the things that you can do being vegan or vegetarian. All right. Google the different types of foods. Also, I do want to add this information very quickly. For everybody out there, you should get a color wheel. And the reason I say get a color wheel, and you can find this on Google, and you could do it. It's a lot of artists use these, but the reason I say use a color wheel is because vegetables, grains, fruits all have different colors. All those colors deal with nutrients. Mm-hmm. All of them deal with nutrients that your body needs. Whenever I cook, I always try to have a different amount of colors, a multitude of colors, different color of peppers, onions, greens, things like that. All of those are nutrients that are going to help fuel your body, all right, along with the protein that you're intaking. All right, you can take in a lot of protein, and then, you know, now you're having issues with your what is that? Your liver and things like that. That's right, you know, because you're taking in too much protein. All these things work in tandem. All right. One thing that I found out, Jeff, is that like for individuals when they're pregnant, all right, or even when we have cravings, we crave different things, and we're like, oh man, I got a taste for, like, I don't know what, mustard on a tortilla or whatever, you know, something weird.
That's the body showing you need that nutrient.
Exactly. So learn what those nutrients are. Learn what they look like. All right. If you know that a certain nutrient or a certain food is yellow and it's going to give you this nutrient, use that. Mm-hmm. That's going to help you in the long run, along with the amount of protein you need. All right. The amount of carbs you need. It's detailed individually to you out there, but it can be done. All right. It can definitely be done. Jeff, always a pleasure.
Always.
Hope I was able to answer the questions for you listeners out there. We're gonna get ready to go to our next segment, and we'll be back.
All right.
Della Fit Podcast is now available on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Play Music.
Welcome back to the Della Fit Podcast, 360 degrees of holistic fitness and health all in one podcast. Shout out to the trainer's trainer, Geoffrey Snyder, for joining us in our question, or part of one half of our conversation of the day, which is how to gain muscle on a vegan diet. A very interesting question. Jeff and I often talk about these type of topics, and I was so glad that he was able to come and discuss it. You listeners out there, that was something that you were very interested in, and I'm so glad that Jeff was able to help join me to talk about how to gain muscle in general, which basically the rules follow whether you're vegan or whether you are a meat eater. So basically, is get enough protein, make sure you have a lot of nutrients, drink your water, get all the proper sleep and rest that you can, and lift heavy. It's not that hard out there, people. It's really not that hard. So we've dealt with that question. Let's go to the other side of the scale, which is something I also hear from my listeners out there, which we thank you for listening. Yes, we do. And the question is, well, son, you know, listen. Summertime's almost here. I want to rock a bathing suit. I want to be able to be attractive to that bae out there. Catch the bae's eye. Do y'all still say bae out there? I don't know, whatever. But anyway, I want to look good. Summertime's almost coming. What do I do to burn fat? What foods can I eat that'll help me burn fat, that'll help me lose weight? What can I do? Help me with this. Please, we're hitting you up. Well, guess what, you all? I had to get some help on this because, I'm not really interested in losing weight. I'm more of a strength guy, more of that, get out there and do those heavy-weighted pull-ups and push-ups and all those other things. So I had to get one of our favorite guests. That's right. The amazing, the on time, the heart healthy and conscious, the wonderful Miss Brittany Noel. Brittany, are you on the line?
I am.
What's going on?
Hopefully I'm not breaking up.
No, you're sounding crispy and clear. How are you today?
I am good. How are you?
We're doing fine. We're just over here. We're trying to, answer these listeners' questions. And one of the questions that we definitely have been hearing is, how do I get to lose weight? What do I eat to lose weight? I'm exercising, I'm running, I'm doing cardio, but when I don't know what to do. Do I grab a snack? Can I snack? Can I eat? Help me, Brittany. Help me.
Yes, definitely eat. I would say most of the time the most common thing that I see, especially with women when they're trying to lose weight, is that they're actually not eating enough calories. So if people get really scared about eating more food, they're like, wait a minute, I'm trying to lose weight, I need to be eating less. But really, you only are looking to have about a deficit of around 300 calories a day to help you lose 1 to 2 pounds a week. And if you go beyond that, if you start to have a deficit of 500 to 1,000 calories, your body actually thinks that you're starving, and it will start to store fat, which is the opposite of what we want. So you want to, maybe use like a food tracker, like a MyFitnessPal or something like that if you don't really have an idea of how much calories you're consuming. Mm-hmm. And keep in mind that most people have a BMR, a basal metabolic rate, of around 1,500 calories, which means that's how many calories burned doing nothing, like sitting down and just breathing, nothing. So if you're working out on top of that, the average person is burning about 1,800 to 2,000 calories. So if you are looking to lose weight, you still want to be eating about 1,600 to 2,000 calories, depending on how vigorous your exercise is.
Okay.
And your overall goal. So that's the number one thing that I see with people, just not eating enough. And another thing is not eating frequently enough. So you want to make sure that you're eating every 2 to 4 hours. I'm not talking about sitting down and having a meal. I'm talking maybe a snack like an apple or some hummus, and vegetables. For most of my clients, I recommend having 3 large meals with breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then 2 snacks in between. So that's usually a good rule of thumb. A lot of people will ask me, like, can I eat at nighttime? Everybody's body is different. So it really just depends on what your sleep and work schedule looks like. So some people might be more active in the evening. So eating before their bedtime or eating at nighttime isn't necessarily bad for someone that might eat their bedtime. Or for someone who might go to bed at like 8:30 might not want to eat that meal at 8. So that's when you might want to readjust what you're eating throughout the day and have more of your heavier foods earlier and the lighter foods in the evening. In general, if you're trying to burn fat burning, I do recommend that you eat more protein at night. Like one of my favorite snacks is hard-boiled eggs before bed, or I might do a handful of nuts like walnuts or almonds, or even Greek yogurt before bed because I can get hungry. Mm-hmm. Those are kind of things as far as the consistency of eating. Foods that have been known to help you burn fat, definitely with lemon. So if you put lemon in your water, apple cider vinegar has also been known to be helpful. So a lot of people maybe like to wake up in the morning and have a 8-ounce glass of water with some lemon in it and a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. Also hot peppers also boost your metabolism. So I personally like to cook with like jalapenos. I add pineapple pepper into a lot of my food. I have a much higher tolerance to those people for spicy things, but if you have a low tolerance, even just like a small bit of cayenne pepper or red chili flakes can help to boost your metabolism. Coffee helps too. If you're not a coffee drinker, that's fine. Pretty much caffeine in general helps you burn more fat, just because it raises your heart rate to that fat burning zone. So you can even do green tea a great way. Berries are really good for fat burning as well. I like to stick to like blueberries, raspberries, blackberries as opposed to strawberries, because they're going to be lower in sugar than strawberries, but those are really good fat burning tools. Cinnamon is also another seasoning that you can use to help burn a little bit more fat. And also eating more fat helps burn fat. So people don't realize that your body can't really process carbohydrates or fat unless you have enough fat in your system. So fat actually helps burn fat. So eating good fats like olive oil.
Wait. I think you just blew my mind, Brittany. Did you say eating more fat makes you help burn fat? What? Wait, yes. Are you serious?
I'm serious. So you have good fats and bad fats. And basically the difference between good fats and bad fats are unsaturated versus saturated. So unsaturated fats have a lot of curves in their chemical structure, so they're not usually stacked upon each other, which means that they are less likely to clog our bloodstream. Whereas saturated fats don't have any kinks in it, so they're easily stacked on top of each other, and they help to like block our bloodstream, which we don't want. So if you're consuming more of the good fat, the unsaturated fat, or the polyunsaturated fat, these things are going to allow us to burn more carbohydrates, first of all. And then second of all, they're going to allow our body to get rid of more of the bad fat. So that's also even going to help with your cholesterol, because we have good and bad cholesterol. So if you're giving your body more good fat, you're giving your body more of the good cholesterol and allowing it to expel the bad cholesterol and bad fat.
Whoa.
So good fats would be things like fish. So having salmon is really good because it has a lot of really good fat in it. You have fish oil, olive oil is really good, avocado, almonds, walnuts. These are all things that are going to give you really good fat, and you should aim to have a good fat for every meal of the day. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, try to get in some sort of good fat, and ironically, it will seem to burn fat.
So really quick, Brittany, I know that you're in the process, you're watching the game. We're not rooting against the team that you're rooting for, but quickly, what are some foods to stay away from when one is trying to lose weight? If you could just give us a few.
So again, just those saturated fats, so things like butter, potato chips, those types of very saturated things. I would stay away from white grains, so things like refined sugar, white rice, regular pasta. Those are all things that are going to be just harder for your body to process. They basically spike your blood sugar, and spikes in your blood sugar to cause more fat. So you want to stay away from that. So I would say sugars are main thing. Any sort of added sugar, if you look in the back of anything and you see added sugar, stay away from it. If you want to have sugar, have natural sugar like fructose, which comes from fruit, or like honey, things like that. And like I said, you don't want to have any sort of saturated or trans fat. So look in the back of your ingredients, see if anything says, saturated trans fat. I know some of you guys out there that are really into the whole keto diet are like, wait, what? You said don't eat butter. That's a whole other rabbit hole. Just look on my blog to understand that part. But in general, go for the unsaturated fat, your olive oil, your fish oil, thing like that.
All right. Always the bountiful fountain of information, the wonderful, don't make fun of me, the wonderful, the amazing, and the all-around great Miss Brittany Noel. Thank you so much, Brittany. We appreciate you. Now go back and watch that game, and we hope they lose. Anyway, coming up next will be Sun's sign off for the De La Fit podcast. You know where you are. 360 degrees of holistic fitness and health all in one podcast. That is the De La Fit podcast. You know what it is.
It's time for another podcast excursion. Join us. We are the Della Fit Podcast.
So we're coming to the end of the podcast. I just want to thank everybody for joining us on our 40th episode in our 4th season. Yes, right. We're now in our 4th season. I'm thankful to everybody who has made this possible. All of our guests, all of our listeners. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. And we are going to continue to make this special for everyone. Also, really quickly, I want to apologize to everybody out there. If you had to listen to me and I sound very nasally, it's because I caught a slight sinus infection over the couple of days. And it's made me sound a little bit like this. So if that's how it sounds while I'm talking, I greatly apologize. It's nothing with the podcast. It's just me having a sinus infection. But with that being said, going back to you, the listeners, I thank you so much for everything, for your topics, for your support, everything. I thank the guests for everything that you've done, because De La Fit Podcast would be nothing without you all, the listeners and the guests. And again, this is something that started out in my backyard on a cell phone. And now I've had the opportunity to talk to so many different types of individuals, so many great individuals, so many people who are professionals and the top of the top in their careers and in their professions. And it's helped me grow as a person. And my goal is I hope it will help you all grow as people and individuals out there with your health. Again, when we talk about health here, we're not just talking about lifting up weights and sweating on a cardio machine or something like that. We're talking about the 360 degrees of holistic fitness and health. We're talking about mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, all ways that we need to function on this plane of manifestation. And if we can, here at the De La Fit Podcast, if we can help by connecting you to those important individuals who know how to get you to the next level, who know how to answer those questions, then that's all that matters. Because truthfully, we need to be educated. Education is not just something that continues in high school and grade school and college and the universities. Education is a consistent part of life. I remember growing up, my parents, I used to ask my parents, I said, when will school be done? And I remember my father immediately jumped in and said, never. Now I understand why. Because you're supposed to constantly be learning all the time, and making yourself better. I've said this in many other podcasts, and I will say this now. We have been taught, and I want you all to hear this. Turn it up. Turn up the volume if you're in your car and you're on your speaker or in your headphones if you have to hear me. All right. But listen to this. We have been taught that perfection is to be without error. That is incorrect. Perfection is to have errors and to be blessed enough to work on them, to correct them. If you didn't have any errors, if you never failed at anything, how would you grow? If there's no growth, there is no life. There's no life that leads to only one thing. That's right, death. So, without that, I'm going to get ready to end this here. Again, for anybody out there that wants to offer a topic to us, please, you can reach us at delafit13@gmail.com or at our website, which is www.delafitpodcast.com. We can also be reached on Facebook at De La Fit Podcast or on Instagram at day_la_fit podcast. That's right. You can reach us at all those platforms. Reach out to us, send us emails. Let us know if you want us to talk about a specific topic. If you want us to research into something, let us know. We are always willing to do this. So without further ado, I'm getting ready to end this podcast. And as somebody once said to me, I'm going to say to you, if nobody said it, I'm going to say it to you. We love you.
You've been listening to the De La Fit Podcast. Ta-ta for now.